Adolf Hitler was a German political leader who became the dictator of Nazi Germany from 1934 to 1945. Born on April 20, 1889, in Austria-Hungary, Hitler initially aspired to be an artist, but turned to politics after serving in World War I. Joining the German Workers' Party, later the Nazi Party, in 1919, he rose to prominence and attempted a failed coup in 1923, leading to his imprisonment and the writing of Mein Kampf. Appointed Chancellor of Germany in 1933, Hitler swiftly consolidated power, establishing a totalitarian regime centered on Aryan racial superiority, anti-Semitism, and militarism. His expansionist policies led to the annexation of Austria and the invasion of Poland in 1939, triggering World War II. Under his rule, the Holocaust saw the systematic extermination of 6 million Jews and millions of others deemed undesirable by the Nazis. Following significant military defeats from 1942 onwards, Hitler's regime crumbled and he committed suicide on April 30, 1945, as Allied forces closed in on Berlin. Hitler's legacy is marked by the widespread destruction and immense suffering he caused, making him one of history's most infamous figures and a grim reminder of the dangers of totalitarianism and unchecked power. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed is a Pakistani militant and a prominent member of the terrorist organization Al-Qaeda. He is widely known as the principal architect of the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks on the United States. Born on March 1, 1964 in Kuwait, Mohammed was involved in various terrorist activities before and after 9/11. He was captured in Pakistan in 2003 and has been held at the Guantanamo Bay detention camp since 2006. His role in orchestrating the 9/11 attacks has made him one of the most infamous figures in the global war on terrorism. Kim Il-sung was the founder and first leader of North Korea, ruling from the country's establishment in 1948 until his death in 1994. Born on April 15, 1912, in Japanese-occupied Korea, Kim emerged as a communist leader and fought against Japanese occupation. After World War II, with the support of the Soviet Union, he became the leader of North Korea. Under his leadership, North Korea developed into a rigidly controlled, totalitarian state with a centrally planned economy. Kim's regime is known for its personality cult, heavy militarization, and isolation from much of the international community. He initiated the Korean War in 1950 by invading South Korea, leading to a conflict that resulted in a stalemate and the continued division of the Korean peninsula. Kim Il-sung's legacy continues to influence North Korean politics and society through the leadership of his son, Kim Jong-il, and grandson, Kim Jong-un. Uti Hussein, the eldest son of Iraqi leader Saddam Hussein, became infamous for his extreme cruelty and sadistic behavior. Renowned for torturing and murdering Iraqi citizens, Udi's reign of terror encompassed countless acts of violence, particularly against women, athletes, and perceived political adversaries. His rampant abuse of power and unrestrained brutality solidified his legacy as one of history's most malevolent figures, perpetuating a climate of fear and oppression in Iraq. Daniel Camargo Barbosa was a Colombian serial killer active in the 1970s and 1980s, notorious for raping and murdering at least 72 young girls. Initially committing crimes in Colombia, he escaped from prison and continued his killing spree in Ecuador. Captured in 1986, he confessed to the murders and was sentenced to 16 years in prison, the maximum penalty in Ecuador at the time. His life ended violently on November 13, 1994, when a fellow inmate killed him. Camargo's brutal acts have cemented his legacy as one of South America's most notorious criminals. Josef Fritzl, an Austrian born in 1935, imprisoned his daughter Elizabeth in a concealed basement in his Amstetten home from 1984 to 2008. Over the 24 years of her captivity, he repeatedly raped her, resulting in the birth of 7 children. 3 of these children were kept with Elizabeth in the cellar, while the other 3 were raised by Fritzl and his wife Rosemary under the false pretense that they were foundlings. 1 infant died shortly after birth. The ordeal was discovered in April 2008 when one of the cellar-raised children fell seriously ill and was taken to a hospital, leading to the revelation of the family's captivity. Fritzl was arrested and, in 2009, found guilty of murder, incest, rape, coercion, false imprisonment, and enslavement, receiving a life sentence. John Wayne Gacy was an American serial killer and sex offender who murdered at least 33 young men and boys between 1972 and 1978. He lured his victims to his home in the Chicago area, often under the guise of offering them work or other favors, and then sexually assaulted and killed them. Gacy buried many of his victims in the crawl space of his house, while others were disposed of in nearby rivers. Known as the Killer Clown because he sometimes performed at children's parties as Pogo the Clown, Gacy's heinous crimes shocked the nation. He was convicted of his crimes in 1980 and was executed by lethal injection in 1994. Adam Lanza was an American mass murderer responsible for the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting in Newtown, Connecticut, on December 14, 2012. At the age of 20, Lanza fatally shot 20 children and 6 adult staff members at the school, after having killed his mother at their home earlier that day. Lanza, who had a history of mental health issues, then took his own life as first responders arrived at the scene. The Sandy Hook massacre is one of the deadliest school shootings in U.S. history, prompting widespread discussions on gun control, mental health, and school safety. Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold were the perpetrators of the Columbine High School massacre, one of the deadliest school shootings in U.S. history. On April 20, 1999, they carried out a meticulously planned attack at their high school in Columbine, Colorado, killing 13 people and injuring over 20 others before committing suicide. The massacre involved the use of firearms, explosives, and other weapons. Harris and Klebold's motives were complex, involving a mix of personal grievances, psychological issues, and a desire for infamy. The tragedy had a profound impact on American society, prompting widespread debates about gun control, bullying, and school safety. Brenda Ann Spencer is an American criminal who gained notoriety for a school shooting she committed on January 29, 1979. At the age of 16, she fired from her home into the Grover Cleveland Elementary School in San Diego, California, killing the principal and a custodian and wounding 8 children and a police officer. When asked why she carried out the attack, Spencer infamously responded, "I don't like Mondays. This livens up the day." Her seemingly callous and nonchalant explanation garnered widespread media attention and led to further discussions on school violence and gun control. Spencer was tried as an adult and sentenced to 25 years to life in prison, where she remains incarcerated.